Welcome back to Sam's Fiction Hub. I'm your host, Sam, and I'm thrilled to have you with me for episode 4. Today, we're diving into chapters 7 and 8 of Echoes of 24, written under my pen name, Virgil Brooks. In our last episode, Maya Locke faced harrowing choices and relentless Krylon forces, all while uncovering the terrifying truths hidden within the letters. Now, in chapters 7 and 8, the stakes rise even higher as Maya begins to wield the power of the decrypted letters and discovers the turning point in her fight against the Krylon. With newfound knowledge comes new threats, presence she might not be able to control. It's an intense ride, and I can't wait to share it with you. So, grab your headphones, settle in, and let's pick up where we left off with Echoes of 24, chapters 7 and 8.
Chapter 7, The Turning Point. Maya's breath rasped in her throat, each inhale laced with the acrid metallic tang of the facility's stale air. The Krylon soldiers' rhythmic advance echoed down the corridor, each footfall like a drumbeat counting down the final seconds of her life. Their weapons hummed, a sinister chorus of mechanical precision. Maya clenched her jaw, her fingers trembling around the grip of her rifle. Her heart hammered in her chest, its rhythm erratic and frantic, matching the storm of fear and determination battling within her. The letters glowed behind her, pulsing with a maddening serenity that belied the chaos closing in. Their answers hovered just beyond her grasp, so close yet agonizingly incomplete. Clarity could wait, survival could not. The commander peeked over the pedestal, firing a quick, precise shot. The plasma bolt struck the lead Krylon's shoulder, the impact sending it staggering but not falling. It never fell. These were no simple machines. They were predators, relentless and terrifyingly efficient, designed to eradicate. The corridor's flickering lights gleamed off their polished armor as the others pressed forward, formation unbroken. Their visors reflected the soft light of the letters, twin beacons of death stalking her. Maya gritted her teeth, firing again, the recoil jolting her arm. The shot clipped a Krylon's leg, forcing it to falter, but the others adjusted, their every move synchronized to perfection.
Remus,
Maya hissed, flattening her back against the pedestal, the cold metal grounding her as adrenaline surged through her veins.
status on the next letter.
Decryption is 98% complete.
Remus reported, his calm voice maddeningly detached from the impending slaughter.
Completion requires 1 additional minute.
Maya cursed under her breath.
I don't have 1 minute.
Her voice cracked, frustration boiling over as the Krylon closed the gap. The metallic clink of their boots against the floor reverberated in her skull, and the mechanical hiss of their breathing filled the suffocating silence between her shallow gasps. Her options were evaporating. Maya could hold them off for another few seconds, maybe, but this wasn't a fight she could win. The visions of her endless battles replayed in her mind, the loop's crushing inevitability suffocating her. Then, Altair's voice whispered in her memory.
You have the power to change it, if that's what you decide.
Her breath hitched as a desperate, reckless idea clawed its way to the forefront of her thoughts. There was no time to second guess, no time for caution.
Remus,
She said, her voice tight with resolve.
divert all remaining power from the defenses to the decryption of the letters.
The AI hesitated.
This will render the facility vulnerable to...
Do it!
Maya snapped, her voice raw and unrelenting. The chamber plunged into darkness as the lights flickered, dimming to a faint, almost ghostly glow. The comforting hum of the facility's defenses fell silent, leaving only the ominous vibration of Krylon boots and the soft, insistent pulse of the letters. Maya's heart lurched, the silence more oppressive than the cacophony of battle. Maya rose from behind the pedestal, her rifle raised. The Krylon soldiers were only meters away now, their visors locking onto her. She could see herself reflected in their mirrored surfaces, small, desperate, but defiant. Her hand tightened on the trigger as she fired again, the plasma bolt striking one Krylon square in the chest. This time, the impact was enough to send it crashing to the ground. The others didn't pause. Their formation shifted seamlessly, stepping over their fallen comrade as they raised their weapons. The hum of energy charging crackled in the air, the promise of annihilation. Maya's pulse quickened. She was out of time. Suddenly, the letters behind her flared, bathing the chamber in an explosion of light so intense it painted everything in stark, otherworldly brilliance. The Krylon soldiers froze, their bodies locking mid-step, as if the light seized their mechanical cores. Maya shielded her eyes with one arm, her body trembling as waves of energy radiated from the pedestal. The air around her buzzed, alive with electric heat, the hair on her arms rising as the room seemed to warp and vibrate.
Remus,
Maya shouted over the deafening roar.
what's happening?
The letters are responding to your presence.
The AI said, its voice laced with rare astonishment.
Decryption is complete. All letters are now decoded.
The words barely registered before the ground beneath her appeared to dissolve. A sudden, overwhelming sensation of weightlessness gripped her, and the chamber fell away into an infinite expanse of light. The visions engulfed her. They weren't fragments this time. They were vivid, complete, and overwhelming. Maya stood on a vast battlefield, fire raining from a sky torn apart by war. The heat of the flames seared her skin, and the metallic tang of blood and smoke choked the air. Soldiers clashed around her, their screams a haunting symphony. This was the battle, the one she saw 1,000 times before, always ending in failure, in death, in ruin. This time, she felt it, the shift. The Krylon forces, always so precise and untouchable, were faltering. Their movements, once impossibly fluid, stilted, disjointed. The loop was breaking. Maya turned, her gaze finding Altair across the chaos. He stood resolute, his face lined with scars and determination. He met her eyes, his expression grim but filled with purpose. He nodded once, acknowledging what she had done. This was the turning point, the moment the cycle could finally be shattered. The battlefield flickered, fading into the blinding glow of the letters. Maya felt the weight of the decision pressing down on her heart pounding with the enormity of it. She could reset the timeline, give humanity a chance to fight without the Krylon predicting their every move. This choice would cost her everything. The commander would become an anomaly, erased from this reality.
You have the power to change it,
Altair's voice echoed in her mind.
if that's what you decide.
Her fingers trembled as she reached for the final letter. Its glow intensified under her touch, the chamber around her trembling with energy.
Remus,
She said, her voice steady and calm.
initiate the final sequence. Break the cycle.
Final temporal reset initiating.
The AI said.
Are you prepared?
Maya closed her eyes, a bittersweet smile on her lips. Time to choose.
Do it.
The letters flared, the light exploding outward, consuming everything. Time itself perceived to shatter, the fragments falling away into an endless void. And then, silence. When Maya opened her eyes, she was in a different chamber. The air was still, the storm outside long gone. The letters were dormant now, their purpose fulfilled. She was alone. The Krylon soldiers were nowhere to be seen.
Remus,
She said, her voice barely audible.
did we do it?
The cycle has been disrupted.
Remus confirmed.
Temporal anomalies are stabilizing. The Krylon's predictive strategies are no longer functional. The war is no longer predetermined.
Maya exhaled, the weight lifting from her shoulders even as exhaustion gripped her. Her future was not the same. The loop broken. As she sat there, trembling on the cold floor, she knew the fight was far from over. The war was still ahead, and she was no longer part of this time. For now, though, this battle was hers.
And that brings us to the end of chapter 7. What an incredible moment for Maya. Every step she takes draws her deeper into the heart of this unfolding mystery. The tension is building, and the revelations ahead promise to shake everything we thought we knew. Before we dive into chapter 8, I want to take a moment to thank someone special. A huge shout out to Rob at audiofiction.co.uk for listing Sam's Fiction Hub in their incredible database of podcasts. Your support means the world to us, and it's an honor to be included alongside so many talented creators. And of course, to all of you listening right now, thank you for being part of this journey. Your support, comments, and shares. Keep this adventure alive. And I couldn't do it without you. All right, let's not keep Maya waiting. Chapter 8 of Echoes of 24 is just ahead. Let's continue the journey.
Chapter 8 Alliance with Remus. Maya remained on the cold floor of the chamber for what felt like hours, though it could have been minutes. The air was still, too still, and the only sound was the faint hum of the facility systems, now running on fumes. The pulsing light of the letters dimming, the energy they once held drained, as if they too fulfilled their purpose and now simply existed. She had done it. Maya shattered the cycle. The weight of that realization sat heavy on her chest, but so did the hollow, lingering emptiness that followed. The Krylon soldiers nullified, the immediate threat neutralized by the temporal disruption. However, that didn't mean the war was over. Maya gained time, changed the course of history, but that was all. The fight ahead was still waiting for her, and its perception more daunting than ever. Maya pushed herself to her feet, her limbs stiff from exhaustion. Her body ached, not from physical injury, but from the strain of the temporal shockwave that rippled through her. She comprehended a disconnection from herself, as though she were a ghost walking through a reality that wasn't truly her own.
Remus,
She said, her voice weak and raspy. Maya swallowed, steadying herself before trying again.
Remus, are you still with me?
The AI's response was immediate.
I am here, Captain.
The simple affirmation brought an unexpected sense of relief. In the midst of all this chaos, of breaking time itself, Remus was still by her side. Though he was just an AI, a system of logic and data, he was the only thing in this place that endured as a constant, stable. Maya exhaled, her breath fogging the air in the lit chamber. The commander stared at the pedestal, the letters now inert, no longer glowing with the energy they once held.
We did it.
She said, her voice barely more than a whisper.
We broke the loop.
Affirmative.
Remus said, his tone calm and matter-of-fact.
The temporal loop has been disrupted. The Krylon predictive systems will no longer function as before. The timeline has been altered, and the war is no longer predetermined.
Maya nodded, but the weight of what transpired still hung in the air.
But I don't feel any different.
She admitted.
We stopped it, but it's like nothing's changed.
There has been a significant change, Captain.
Remus said, his tone gentle.
The nature of temporal manipulation does not always present immediate or visible consequences. The ripple effect of the disruption will take time to manifest.
Maya let those words sink in. Time would reveal the outcome of her choice, but she had no way of knowing what that future would look like. It was as if she had stepped into uncharted territory, no longer tethered to the inevitability of the loop, but now facing an unknown path ahead. Maya took a deep breath and forced herself to focus. The questions swirling in her mind could wait. There was still a war to fight, and she needed to get back to her fleet.
Remus, what's the status of the facility?
She asked, her voice regaining some of its strength.
The facility's power reserves are nearly depleted. External communications remain offline, and internal systems are operating at minimal efficiency. I recommend immediate evacuation.
The AI said. Maya's lips tightened into a grim line.
Evacuation to where? The storm outside is still raging, and we've got no ship.
That is correct.
Remus said.
However, I have been able to access a hidden section of the facility's data archives. There may be a solution to our current situation.
Maya's eyes narrowed.
A hidden section? How did we miss that before?
It was concealed behind multiple encryption layers likely related to the advanced nature of the letters themselves. It appears that this facility was not only a temporal research site, but also a repository for advanced Krylon technology.
The words hit her like a jolt of electricity.
Krylon technology? Here in this facility?
Correct.
Remus confirmed.
The facility was designed as a covert research station, experimenting with temporal manipulation and Krylon adaptive systems. It appears that some of the Krylon technologies used in their predictive warfare were derived from this very site.
Maya's mind raced. Krylon technology. If there was anything left, anything usable, it could tip the balance in the war. The Krylon had always been a step ahead because of their technological superiority. If she could harness that, even just a fraction of it.
Where is it?
Maya asked, her tone sharp with newfound urgency.
There is a sealed chamber located beneath the current level.
Remus said.
I can guide you to the entrance. However, be advised that the facility's power is unstable. The chamber may not be functional.
Maya didn't care. This was the first real lead she had, something tangible she could act on. If there was any chance of finding Krylon technology that could help her and her fleet, she had to take it.
Let's go.
She said, her grip tightening on her weapon as she turned toward the exit of the chamber. Remus began guiding her through the facility's winding corridors, his voice calm and steady as he directed her toward the lower levels. The facility exuded emptiness, as if the energy that had once powered it had been drained by the temporal disruption. The flickering lights cast long, eerie shadows on the walls, and the constant hum of machinery quieted to a sporadic whine. As they descended into the lower levels, the air grew colder, the walls slick with condensation. Maya's breath came in short, visible puffs, her pulse quickening with each step. She had no idea what she would find down here, but the promise of Krylon tech kept her moving forward. Eventually, they reached a large, reinforced door. Unlike the others, this one was armored, with no visible control panel or interface. It looked ancient, its surface scarred with the wear of time, but still intimidating in its presence.
Remus, how do we open this?
Maya asked, her hand resting on the cold metal.
I have accessed the door's control mechanisms. It will require manual override from within.
Remus said.
Stand by.
A faint click sounded from the door, followed by a rumble as the heavy metal slid open, revealing a dark, cavernous room beyond. The air was colder here, biting at her skin even through her suit. Maya stepped inside, her flashlight cutting through the darkness, revealing the strange, jagged forms of Krylon technology embedded in the walls. The chamber was vast, filled with machinery that hummed with latent energy. Strange angular devices hovered in the air, suspended by unseen forces, their surfaces sleek and black, like liquid metal. It was unlike anything Maya had ever seen before, advanced, otherworldly, and dangerous.
What am I looking at?
Maya said, her voice tinged with awe.
This is a Krylon adaptive research chamber,
Remus explained.
The technology housed here was to evolve in response to external stimuli. It is capable of learning, adapting, and self-replicating based on the needs of its environment. This chamber was likely used to test Krylon predictive algorithms and adaptive combat systems.
Maya approached one of the hovering devices, her eyes scanning its sleek, alien surface.
Can we use it?
That remains to be determined,
Remus said.
However, I believe we may be able to integrate certain elements of the technology into your existing systems. If successful, it could enhance your ability to predict Krylon movements and strategies.
Maya's heart raced at the thought. If they could harness this technology, they could finally level the playing field. The Krylon had always been one step ahead, but now, for the first time, she had a chance to turn their own tools against them.
Remus,
She said, her voice filled with determination.
start the integration process. Whatever we can salvage, we're taking with us.
Understood, Captain.
The AI replied.
Beginning integration now. Please be advised, this process may take several minutes, and there is a risk of system instability during the transfer.
Maya nodded, steeling herself for what was to come. She stood in the center of the chamber, surrounded by Krylon tech, watching as the machinery around her hummed to life. Strange lights flickering as Remus began the delicate process of integrating their systems. As the minutes passed, Maya couldn't shake the notion that she was standing at the edge of something monumental. The temporal loop had been broken, and now, with Krylon technology at her fingertips, she had the chance to change the course of the war once and for all. Deep down, she sensed the real battle was still ahead. The war had always been about more than survival. It was about adaptation, evolution, and now, with Remus at her side, she had the tools to fight on a new front, one the Krylon would never see coming.
And that wraps up chapters 7 and 8 of Echoes 24. Maya's journey is reaching a critical point, with every letter unlocking more power and more danger. The twists we've seen so far are just the beginning, and I can't wait to explore what comes next with all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Sam's Fiction Hub. Your support means everything, and it's a privilege to share these stories with such an amazing community. Special thanks again to Rob at audiofiction.co.uk for helping us connect with more listeners who love immersive storytelling. If you're enjoying the podcast, remember that Echoes of 24 will be available on December 12th, 2024. An ebook, audiobook, and print. Be sure to grab your copy and dive deeper into this epic, time-bending tale. I'd love to hear your thoughts on chapters 7 and 8. What are your theories about the letters, Krylon, and Maya's next move? Drop a comment, send a message, or connect with us on social media. Your insights and reactions make this journey even more exciting. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Sam's Fiction Hub on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribing ensures you won't miss a single episode, and it's the best way to support the show. Until next time, keep imagining, keep exploring, and as always, keep turning the page.